Watch out for Ernie, he's getting a CAT scan.
What the hell? Stewie, what's going on?
From the look of it, I'm guessing this is Quahog, but during some sort of ice age.
Well, press the button, get us out of here.
And it looks like they have medical care as well.
Ma'am, I'm sorry, but I've done this.
Hey, shot in the dark, but is anyone else in the mood to run really fast in one direction?
This. I found it in the yard.
A tennis ball. That's very impressive, Brian.
Yeah, but don't tell the other dogs in the neighborhood. They'll be jealous.
These are the times when both Stewie and Brian shocked Quahog the most. In the Family Guy fan-favorite episode, Road to the Multiverse, Stewie reveals one of his most mind-blowing inventions.
This is it, Brian.
What's that?
You ever heard of the multiverse theory, Brian?
Well, of course I have, but I'm wondering if you have.
A remote control that allows him and Brian to travel across parallel universes. The episode begins innocently enough, but soon Stewie and Brian are catapulted into a journey through alternate realities.
Honey, have you seen Stewie? I can't find him anywhere.
I sure have. He's over there playing in the corner.
First, they find themselves in the Disney universe, a seemingly perfect idyllic version of Quahog where everyone is drawn in beautiful Disney animation. Peter, Lois, and the rest of the town are more wholesome than ever, breaking into song and dance at any moment.
Brian, we could spend the rest of our lives here. It's perfect.
Sounds good to me.
Next up was the Robot Chicken universe, where things get downright chaotic. The world is animated in the stop-motion style of Robot Chicken, and the violence is amped up.
Will you guys move? You're blocking the TV.
Look! G.I. Joe, Transformers, Thundercats, He-Man! Yay! Those shows existed!
Characters look grotesque and deranged, giving Brian and Stewie a glimpse of Quahog in a world where nothing is off-limits. As they hop into the dog-dominant universe,
I may have finally figured this out. I just need to make a few more calculations.
Brian's wildest dreams come true. Dogs are the rulers, and humans are mere pets.
Sorry about that. Bad girl, Holly. No jumpies.
The next stop is the Flintstones universe, where everything has a prehistoric twist. In a hilarious homage to the Flintstones, Brian and Stewie become caveman versions of themselves.
But we still always use a rock phylactic.
I'm riveted for your pleasure.
Navigating a Stone Age version of Quahog. Finally, they land in the No Christianity universe, where the absence of religion has led humanity to a futurist utopia. The sheer absurdity of their adventures leaves Quahog and viewers reeling from the possibilities of alternate realities. One of the most heart-wrenching and shocking episodes of Family Guy, where Quahog and fans were left stunned by a devastating loss, is when Brian, the Griffin family's beloved talking dog, meets a tragic end, sending shockwaves through the entire town of Quahog. The episode starts out innocently enough, with Stewie and Brian hanging out as usual. They decide to take a stroll outside, and being their usual mischievous selves, they engage in some lighthearted antics, like playing with a hockey net in the middle of the road. But everything takes a dark turn when Brian is hit by a speeding car right in front of Stewie's eyes. Brian is rushed to the vet by the Griffin family, but the injury is too severe. With tears in his eyes, Brian, the beloved talking dog who's been with the family through thick and thin, takes his last breath. Quahog feels the loss too, as Brian had become a staple character, loved by both the townspeople and the audience alike. The shock and sadness that ripple through the episode are palpable, making it one of the most emotionally charged moments in Family Guy history. Stewie and Brian take a jaw-dropping trip down memory lane in this episode, but with a time travel twist that leaves Quahog reeling. It all starts when Brian wants to revisit the past to find out where he buried a tennis ball years ago. Stewie, always ready with a plan, takes Brian back in time to the pilot episode using his time machine.
9/11.
There's the writer of the Harry Potter.
As Stewie and Brian arrive in 1999, they encounter the original animation and cruder humor of Family Guy's early days. Brian, frustrated with how his life has turned out, warns his past self about the events of 9/11. This single change in history creates a massive butterfly effect, plunging the world into chaos. When they return to the present, they discover that the alteration has caused a catastrophic future where the U.S. is in a full-scale civil war due to a political divide. The sight of Quahog as a dystopian war zone is both shocking and disturbing, as Peter, Lois, and other familiar faces have become hardened soldiers in a devastated America. In the end, they manage to reset history, erasing all traces of their tampering, and return to the present. But what makes this episode so shocking is how a simple decision to dig up a tennis ball turns into a full-scale disaster that nearly destroys the world.
All right, everybody, shut the hell up!
The consequences of meddling with the past ripple through Quahog and beyond, demonstrating just how fragile the fabric of time can be.
Hey, give me your keys. I need your car.
What? You're not taking my car?
Very well, then. You're driving me. Let's go.
Right, driving you where?
To the North Pole to see Santa Claus.
One more memorable episodes of Family Guy that shows Stewie and Brian embarking on a shocking holiday adventure that leaves Quahog reconsidering their festive cheer is The Road to the North Pole. The episode begins with Stewie's growing frustration and cynicism about Santa Claus. After a disastrous visit to the mall Santa where he feels snubbed, Stewie decides that the only way to resolve his anger is to travel to the North Pole and kill Santa himself.
Oh my God! You're Santa Claus!
Brian, ever the reluctant caretaker, is dragged along on Stewie's unhinged mission, and the two set off on a road trip to find Santa. The North Pole is not the magical, festive place they expected. Instead, when they finally arrive, they discover a grim industrial wasteland.
Now they're just a sickly race of mutated genetic disasters. At least 60% of them are born blind.
The elves are sickly and overworked. The reindeer have turned rabid. When Stewie and Brian finally meet Santa, they're horrified to find him a frail, decrepit shell of a man, barely able to keep up with the demands of delivering presents to the world's children. Despite Stewie's original plan to kill Santa, he's so taken aback by the horrors of what he sees that he and Brian end up trying to save Christmas instead. In the end, Brian and Stewie return to Quahog and urge the people of the town to scale back their Christmas wishes and give Santa a break. This moral message is unexpected in a Family Guy episode and adds an extra layer of depth to the story.
I've been working the room at a lot of Hollywood parties. Oh.
The new Val Kilmer picture. But I'd much rather take you guys out to dinner. How about Musso and Frank's, 8 o'clock?
Okay, see you later, Mr. Big Shit.
In this episode, Brian chases after his Hollywood dream, but things take a wild turn, shocking both Quahog and the audience. The episode begins with Brian feeling restless and unfulfilled with his life in Quahog, especially after being reduced to a mere family pet and housemaid for the Griffins. Fed up, Brian decides to leave the town and head to Los Angeles to pursue his dream of becoming a screenwriter.
This is some kind of shampoo commercial, right?
Do I have to sleep with the dog in this one?
Hey, can someone fluff Paul? He's got like a windsock thing going on.
So this is some kind of shampoo commercial, right?
Instead of diving straight into screenwriting, he ends up working in the adult film industry, producing adult films to make ends meet. Stewie tags along. However, what shocked viewers wasn't just Brian's failed attempts at stardom, but Stewie's deep dive into the underworld of show business. At one point, Stewie becomes involved with a child acting agency, shockingly using his cunning intellect to manipulate adults for his gain. Meanwhile, the Griffins decide to visit Brian, expecting to see him succeeding in his screenwriting endeavors. Instead, they're shocked to discover Brian's involvement in a world far removed from the glamorous Hollywood dream.
Well, actually, one of the jacuzzi girls didn't show up. How long can you hold your breath underwater, sweetie?
The episode satirizes the entertainment industry while showing Brian's moral and professional struggles, leaving both his family and Quahog stunned at the lengths to which Brian has gone in pursuit of his ambitions. Ultimately, Brian realizes that Hollywood isn't all it's cracked up to be, and after a heartfelt conversation with Peter, he returns home to Quahog.
For this, Brian, This is serious stuff. This is a 14-hour meditation on the importance of family, fast cars, product placement, racial ambiguity, and family.
The close friendship between Stewie and Brian takes a dramatic and emotional turn that shocks Quahog. The episode begins with Stewie and Brian spending some quality time together, and we get a glimpse of how much Stewie cherishes his friendship with Brian, especially through a sentimental bond he has with his beloved teddy bear, Rupert. However, things escalate when Brian, in a fit of jealousy and drunken carelessness, destroys Rupert during a game of tug-of-war. Stewie is devastated, heartbroken beyond measure. The destruction of Rupert, who is more than just a toy to Stewie, leads to a deep rift between him and Brian.
No! Rupert! Rupert!
Fueled by anger and sadness, Stewie goes on a mission to bury Rupert and sever his friendship with Brian. He's furious, blaming Brian for ruining the one constant in his life.
Hey, what's going on? You killed my best friend is what's going on!
At one point, Stewie even declares that Brian should have been the one to die instead of Rupert, an incredibly harsh sentiment that highlights the depth of his grief.
You killed him! Let me make it up to you, please. How about you kill something I love? How about I do that?
In a desperate attempt to make things right, Brian apologizes and tries to explain his behavior. The two set off on an emotional journey to make amends, with Brian ultimately realizing how important Rupert was to Stewie and how much their friendship means. By the end of the episode, after a somber and reflective conversation, they reconcile over Rupert's grave. The depth of Stewie's pain and Brian's remorse leaves Quahog and fans stunned, showing a much more tender side to the characters while still maintaining the show's humor. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Which of these moments shocked Quahog the most? Was it Stewie's wild inventions or Brian's unexpected actions? Be sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell icon so you don't miss out on more jaw-dropping moments from Family Guy. See you in the next one.